Don't worry, be happy. And with that being said, let's start this ride. What it do, peeps? I'm the Beat Chef. This is the ride. Hit that like, that share, that subscribe button. Hit that bell to get notified when I drop my next video. Hit that hype button. To my new subscribers, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the show. Hope you get something from the content. Lord have mercy, it's been a week. To my day ones, thank you for helping me build this platform as we continue this WNBA conversation. I've been a union steward for over 22 years. These CBA negotiations, I'm kind of built for this stuff. On a day in and day out basis, I'm either helping somebody transition into the business, transition out the business, or keeping the temperature down between management and employees when things get kind of out of whack. This WNBA article released by ESPN, I've been waiting for this all week. I've been waiting for a response and some feedback from the players. But speaking on CBA negotiations anonymously, to me, is a coward move. And it tells me that NECA and the Players Association went to Nashville and twisted the arms of the players and told them to be quiet. That they had their backs, they had their interests, and that they were handling stuff. When in fact, it's really the opposite. Really, it's a con game. And you have to go to look at other leagues to understand the con game. See, like I said, I help people exit the business. That's what really this is all about, exiting the business. The WNBA is a unique sports league. If you look at any other sports league, players that play the league, everybody's not going to like their job. That's a given. But any other sports league, you still see players hovering around the league when they retire. You go to the NFL, you can turn on ESPN, you'll see Dominique Foxworth, Ryan Clark, Damian Woody, Teddy Bruschi on ESPN speaking about the league, Marcus Spears, so on and so forth, countless others. You can name 100 guys. You can go to the NBA and you can name 15 guys, you could wake up in the morning and name 15 guys off the top of your head that cover the NBA. Shaq, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Reggie Miller, and so many countless others still connected to the game. MLB, you'll have Big Papi David Ortiz, you'll have A-Rod, you'll have Pedro Martinez, John Smoltz calling games connected to the league in some form or fashion. But in the W, you can't name 20 people. And there's been over 1,000 women who have played and laced them up in this league, and you can't name 10 off the top of your head that are still connected to the league. You can name Rebecca Lobo. I'll give you Candace Parker. I'll give you Renee Montgomery, Shanae Ogunwai, and Andrea Carter. Can you give me 15 more without Googling it? No. And that's the problem that we're all facing right now. What to do next? Other players that are in the crossroads, in the middle of their career, they don't know what to do either. You got players at the beginning of their careers, they're too young and naive to know what to do. This article by ESPN, they went to Athletes Unlimited in Nashville around the same time when NECA and Terry Carmichael Jackson and Breonna Turner showed up to do that damage control meeting. Because like I told you, that spreadsheet that the league dropped last week did exactly what it was intended to do. Target 7 through 12. And it got 5, 6 his attention as well. See, every section of this league is littered with players at different crossroads in their life. But There's one common thread that nobody talks about in this league, and I mean nobody. They don't love the game. Many of them. They're just playing to get a check. They don't love what they do. And that's been historically the problem. You imagine a Caitlin Clark who loves the game, like seriously loves the game, and competes very hard, steps on the court. You fear she's going to embarrass you because she takes the game serious when you don't. So now you're resorting to any and every action to keep her from embarrassing you. And that's what Caitlin Clark will face until they get enough players in this league that love the game equally or greater than her to balance it out. And until they do that, she will continue to get scrutinized, ridiculed, used as a pawn. You name it, everything negative that can happen to Caitlin Clark will continue to happen until the unrivaled kingdom that I showed you becomes reality and a place to put those disenfranchised players, those players that really don't want to play, those players that really can't play, till they have a place for them to go to. So that Project B, it needs to open up. And they need to be accepting of all the players that W needs to cast off. This article, like I said, they went to Nashville. There's 40 players in Athletes Unlimited. 26 of those players played in the WNBA last year. They only interviewed those players. And they did about 12 of them. They interviewed about 12 of them. They went through a range of topics. I'm going to leave a link to that below. But speaking anonymously, to me, was a coward move, even though they did it. They asked them about a full season and would they think it was going to be one on a scale of 1 to 10. The average was 6.1. There was one person that had a low as a 2. The most common answer was a 5. I think we're going to have a season. I don't know if it'll be a whole season, some players said. I feel like we're asking for a lot. I know we deserve it, but at the same time, it's kind of like we're kind of getting greedy. We're doing a lot of asking. I feel like we need to do a lot of doing. See, folks, I told you guys back in the summer, these players just had a list of demands. They didn't have a proposal. They had marching orders and directives for the league. The league formed a proposal. That was the max with the $850,000. That's why the players after that meeting, they were like, they came with that and they didn't listen to what we wanted. Because these players didn't come with a proposal. They came with we got Caitlin Clark on our side. You're going to give us what we want or we're going to hold her hostage. That's why they took a picture of Caitlin Clark in that shirt and they keep using it to this day. Because Caitlin Clark is a hostage. Such is life. But they came with the demands. That's why you saw Mary Jane on the spreadsheet on the list of demands, because the league gave them that. You want to smoke? We'll stop drug testing you, because we've already busted y'all a few times with smoking. The 1 game suspensions here or the 1 game injury that you played, punishment. And we won't out you publicly for your drug habit. We'll just suspend you for a game and say you had an ankle injury. That's how they do these things. They cover up. One player said, I'm going to lean more towards the positive side. So I'm going to say an 8 because I know the amazing people that we have to support us, the women in the negotiating chairs. This is a person who's on the take that said this. A full W season, I feel pretty confident on full. I feel like a 9. They asked him about if they could lose a paycheck. It got very interesting in this one, and there was a lot of different reactions. But apparently, these players don't need the money. That was the overall consensus. Who knew that some of the world's most elite basketball players were also first class money managers? Most players said they'll be all right with or without the W stacks. I'm not making an insane amount for it to be a really big deal. Fortunately, I've been around these last few years and I've been able to make more on off the court, but I still want it. I'm fighting to have another year in the league. I would love to have a season where I'm able to make more money and just really feel even more comfortable in life and be able to do more for my family. You need the check. The off the court stuff's a lie. And the money is a big deal. Just keep it a buck. Keep it 100. But the last thing you need to do while somebody's trying to bargain to get you more money is to say you'd be good without the check. But keep in mind, folks, they're at Athletes Unlimited. So they're getting paid while they're doing this interview. Ask these same questions on May 8th, and there'll be a different response. Another player said, I've done a good job about saving up just in case that scenario does happen. I'm super casual. So, yeah, I'm fortunate enough to be in a good position. That's a player that's been in the league for some years and has done okay with their money. Another player said, it would impact me immensely. It's my job. So it would be a big deal. Another player said this, and it was just like lost. I'm pretty set up off the court, so it wouldn't. If it's the W paycheck we make now, it wouldn't bother me. If it's a big W paycheck and an upgrade, I could use it. This is a player that hasn't read the bargaining reports and does not realize that her pay has increased substantially. She too needs the check. She just doesn't want the check from last year, not realizing the check will be bigger in the future. Totally lost, but I've seen it on my own job site. This player that's coming up is definitely a younger player within the last 2 years of coming into the league. I have a lot of endorsements and NIL, so I wouldn't say that would really impact me. But I would say the inability to play the sport that you love will affect a lot of players because some of us really, really love the sport of basketball. And being able to go out there and play, and that's what we've been doing our whole life. This player said a lot. This player confirmed to me what I said earlier. These players don't love the game, many of them. Some do, but a lot of them don't. This player also used the word NIL. That's a new term. This player is young. This player is not an older player. This player, more than likely, out of the 26 that played, is possibly Anissa Morrow. Anissa Morrow, out of the players that are there, is one of the highest earners when it comes to NIL at Athletes Unlimited. So somebody needs to grab Anissa and tell her to understand. Let her know. You got your NIL money because you left for school and you went to LSU. LSU was a bigger school than you did that you played with at Illinois. You came to LSU, big time program, big time donors, big time money, big time coach. You are now a season removed from playing at LSU. It's about to be 2 years removed from playing at LSU. The further you get away from LSU, those endorsements are going to look a lot different if you don't start producing in the W. If you don't play, they don't pay. If you're not playing at a high level, endorsements dry up. The Kava sponsorship you got will be irrelevant. If Kava closes, the deal dies. The check is important. It might not be important today. Tomorrow, it will be. That's a young person talking. Money is money. I would love my paycheck. Some of the players, when they asked anxious about the feelings, about the negotiation on a scale of 1 to 10, one person put her anxiety level at a 10. But the majority of players said they aren't worried, or at least they aren't going to worry about it beyond what's their control. The average score was 3.2. I think the league and owners just feel that we're going to sign, and we're not. We're going to just sit out, and that's the case. If that's the case, like, we deserve it. I ain't worried about it. Like, it's either going to happen or it's not. I can't worry about it. Not going to stress myself over something I can't control. Another player on that Kool-Aid, because I told you Brianna serves some Kool-Aid that is delicious. I have a good level of faith and understanding of what's going on with those that are on our executive committee. They know what they're talking about, and we're on the same page. That was an utter lie. That's what you say. That's what you say to a reporter when you just want to give them that generic statement. That person been coached. They ask them about how they feel represented in the negotiation as someone who's not among the top tier of WNBA earners. Caitlin Clark fans, this one really has a lot to do with her. Yes and no. I feel like power comes with the hype behind your name, or like the meaning behind your name. But at the same time, it's kind of like, hey, think about us. I know you guys are top earners, but at the end of the day, you also need us. There could be no league. This is a player that's at the bottom that don't have a big name, looking at the top players kind of with some jealousy, like, hey, get us some money too. We know y'all gonna get the bag, but let us get some of the money too. Jealousy creates envy. Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA a millionaire. That rubbed 99% of the players wrong. Y'all might not agree with me that I say every player in the WNBA is an enemy of the state when your name is Caitlin Clark. Y'all can think Lexi Hull and Aaliyah Boston are her ride or dies. For a large fry and $1 million, they'll take her knee out. Right now, yes, I do, especially being at Athletes Unlimited, having conversations with people on the executive committee, conversations I've had with NECA. I feel like this representation is very different from the last CBA negotiations. We're being louder. I feel like people had concerns in the last CBA, but kind of were stomped out by the 1%ers. I call them. But I feel like this time around, we're holding firm. This is a player that's in the middle. This is a player in the middle, and the 1% of the league, the top earners, kind of got what they wanted in the CBA negotiations. But this time, they're going to help them out. They're going to get their bread too. They're completely misguided. Completely. Top player going to think about a top player. They ain't thinking about nobody at the bottom. And you can tell it was at different tiers. This question hit all the tiers. It hit the higher ups that are older, the mid tier, and the lower. Yeah, I feel good about what people have been saying, even though everybody on the EC can't relate to all of the players. Now, the previous person said that they were going to take care of all of them this time. This player was like, I think we have some representation in there. And I think other people understand that where we went wrong last CBA in not taking care of the middle of the pack players. And so, hopefully we don't see it happening. Another player. I think so. On the February 2nd call, there were a few players who were kind of in my position. And I do feel like what they spoke to was very true for myself as well. So I think we were getting, yes, the superstars, but also the veteran minimum players, the role players. The league is 144 now, 144 or more now. It's not only about the top 20 players, right? The rest of the league has to matter. And I do feel like my voice was heard. So this is a player that's right there, but almost kind of between the rookie and the veteran minimum player. This is that player that would be getting, you know, close to the half a million, but more like closer to like 345 to 440 in that range of pay if they took this deal, but they don't understand. They don't even know how many players in the league. She said 144 or more now. You should know how many members you got. You should know how many players in your league. Common common things that are supposed to be known to these players, they don't know. But she did know the top 20 players. They asked how the bargaining, the level of CBA negotiations, how they feel informed. Uh, Players answered consistently that they felt they were very informed on, but their words that they're saying speak otherwise. Often answering with a 9 or a 10. The lowest answer was a 5. The average was 9. I don't know about the league side. I know about the players. We're very 100% confident in what we stand on. One player said this, and it just really, it was the crux of everything that I just put my head on the table. I feel like they need to help us out with just a little more. They need to like break it down, not dumb it down, but just make it concise and simple. The younger generation's attention span is a little bad. This one, folks, this one ain't surprising. We live in the tablet generation, the keep my phone in my generation, and these players don't think for themselves. They ask Google an answer. Google gives them an answer. They run with the answer. They don't do any problem solving on their own. This common. I get this every day. This is a young player, a very young player. This section, this question, I deal with this a lot. After salary, what are your top issues? Top to bottom, left to right, front to back, salary and revenue sharing rank highest. But players say housing and retirement benefits are worth fighting for. This is going to be a mix of people. The retirement is going to always be an older person, a person that's almost to the point where you got to see the door in front of you and you about to hit it. At some point, the ball's going to stop bouncing. So similarly to other leagues that already exist, there's an understanding of you put your time and your effort into doing this long term, and at some point it's going to stop bouncing. So it'd be nice to be helped out with that. This person wants a fat check going into retirement and some guarantee that they're going to get checks coming in retirement. This is more than likely Odyssey Sims or Tina Charles talking. Housing. Our season isn't long enough. That's weird because when they made it longer, y'all complained. See, they're talking out of both sides of your mouth. There's not enough things in place, everybody's market, for it to make sense for people to live there year round. Everybody that's watching my show probably lives somewhere year round. I'm not sure what they're talking about. Also, because of the lack of guaranteed contracts, we have a revolving door of players, like we saw with the Fever. The reason why the Fever had a revolving door of players is because players were getting injured. New players were coming in. I just don't understand how they feel like it would make sense to take away housing when people are all over the place moving. If you commit to the craft and you commit to a team, a team would start keeping y'all in place longer. It's better for the business. You grow with the community, you grow with the fans. These players play hopscotch with their careers so much. Free housing in the WNBA, leave, go to Turkey. Turkish league plays for their housing. They play in Turkey. They go play another league. They get housing there. Then they come back right at training camp. They get a training camp house and move in. And now they moved in for 4 to 5 months. Training camp was a couple weeks. So then they get that housing from the league and they rinse and repeat. They're nomads. They operate like nomads. Another player said housing. Those people who are on the lower end of the salary, they're the ones that are most likely traded. So it's not fair. It's unfair. They addressed that. The only thing is the league had to expound on addressing that because the players weren't getting the information from the bargaining committee. This one, it got me. I got pissed off at this one. Pension. A lot of people did stuff to put this league where it is. And so many people having to wait 10 years or like have 10 years of service to get a pension is just insane. I could go on for days. So they could go on and elaborate about what they ain't getting. But this player is a player that's probably got, I would say, 7 to 8 years in the league. But they got to get to 10 years to be eligible to get a pension. Say like you at your job, you might have to wait a certain amount of years to get vested in your 401k. This player thinks, I played 3 years in the W and I get a pension. So when I retire, I'm going to start drawing my pension from 3 years of playing. Not knowing that your pension accrues as you go up in years. Your 401k does the same thing with the contributions and then the kick-ins by the company. These players got the same thing the league kicks in. We just saw that the other day. This one really bothered me just for the simple fact. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I had a coworker in 2022. She was thinking about retiring. And I asked her why. She said some friends told her, hey, the job market's really good out here. You'll be able to find another job quick. I told her, don't do it. I said, you're the highest person in our department. You damn near get 2 months of vacation time a year. You get your pick of whatever shift. You're working on a differential shift. You're making 10% on that. You're working Sundays. You're getting double time and a half for that. And you're working every holiday. You're getting double time for that. You got it made. They don't even bother you. They leave you alone. If you go somewhere else, you're going to have to start over. This woman was 52 years old, had 32 years of service. She retires. I go through everything she's going to face when she leaves. I told her, you touch your pension, you touch your 401k, Sam gonna light you up. Your 401k was mainly pre-tax. He gonna get his money off that. So that number you see on the screen, it ain't the number you gonna get. And you're gonna face the penalty because you're 52, you're not 59 and a half. She didn't listen. Fast forward, December 2023. Get a call. It's her. I ain't gonna say her name. She says, hey, how you doing? I'm good. She says, man, are they still hiring? I said, they ain't letting older folks back on payroll. Y'all left. Y'all been calling me for the last month. They are not letting y'all back in here. I'm sorry. 2 months ago, that same woman called me. Still looking for a job. Still. That was 2025. So since 2022, she blew through her 401k and her pension and is now working a menial job trying to stay afloat because she took bad advice from some people she thought was her friends. These players are doing the same thing. These players think the bargaining team are their friends because they got Breonna Turner and Alicia Clark, who used to be in Athletes Unlimited, on that bargaining team. So they think they got some people that got skin in the game and got their best interests, not realizing that everybody in there got an interest in something else. Also, these players didn't understand the significance of giving strike authorization to their bargaining unit. You have essentially given your power away to a bargaining unit, and they're going to do whatever they feel is in their best interest, not yours. Don't Worry, Be Happy was a song. But Don't Worry, Be Happy is what people need to tell them players. Y'all made the decision. Y'all made the bed. Y'all will lie in it. Don't worry. The league is going to be happy to get rid of the majority of you and make this a legitimate business. Leave your comments below, like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.